today? So our next topic is software metrics. Am I audible? Is the presentation visible? Okay. So in the previous class, we saw the models like your waterfall model and your prototype model. I'll just quickly recap this waterfall model so that you'll remember. And did you all check the Google Classroom? I think only 29 students have joined Google Classroom as of now. I've posted. Yes, I've shared it, I've shared it many times. Even in the WhatsApp group again during the end of the previous session, I sent you the code. It is there in the group, and I've posted the PPT also for all the 4 lecture sessions that we have covered. Okay. So quickly going back to our waterfall model phases, a small revision. So this waterfall model phases include the requirement analysis and definition, system and software design, implementation and unit testing, integration and systems testing, finally operation and maintenance. So these are the waterfall model phases. So when it comes to the software specification, it is a process of establishing what services are required and the constraints on the system's operation and development. So we have seen this feasibility study, requirements elicitation, requirement specification, and requirements validation are the 4 stages of the requirements engineering process, which is the initial phase of waterfall model, and you will be learning these in detail in the second unit. I already mentioned. So the requirements engineering process, if you see here, it involves a feasibility study, and on doing the feasibility study, a feasibility report is prepared. So feasibility study is nothing but whether the software that we have or the technology that we possess is in a position to develop the software or the product which is required by the user. Do we have the resources which will be enough for developing the software product which has come as an order from the customer? Okay. And then requirements elicitation and analysis. So feasibility study, so whether we can do the project, take up the project, and then what are the requirements, what are the resources that you need. Okay. And once you analyze the resources, the requirement specification is given. Okay. And after the requirement specification, the requirements are validated. Okay. Requirements validation is checking whether this whatever resources we have is suitable, is actually working with the product development. Okay. So all these are documented. The requirements document is created, which is used as a sample for reference by the next team. So requirement specification, here the user and the system requirements are the specifications, like who will be the developer and what is the technical knowledge of the developer of the product, software product. Okay. And what is the experience of the people involved in this particular project development. So all these are the user and system requirements details. Okay. And finally, these are documented, which is used for reference in the design stage, the analysis stage. Okay. So the software design and implementation. So the process of converting the system specification, whatever is mentioned in the requirements document, as what is required and what the software is supposed to do. Okay. And what are the technologies involved in this. Based on this, we are converting the system specification into an executable system. So the software design is designing the software structure that is going to realize the specification mentioned in the requirements gathering. And implementation is translating this design structure into an executable program. So the activities of design and implementation, they are closely related, okay, and integrated. We have already seen this. This is just a revision. So design process activities involves architectural design, abstract specification, interface design, component design, data structure design, and algorithm design. So when it comes to the design part, it is not just using some notations. It involves drafting the architectural design, then drafting the abstract, then designing the interface details, okay, then component design, the modules inside it, then what is the data structure that is used for the module, like stack, skew, or sorting, searching, bubble sort, whatever is used in this logic. And then once you identify the type of data structure, the algorithm that you use for implementation, the algorithm logic. So all these specifications involve the design process activities. This design part you will be learning in detail in the third unit. Okay. So the software design process, after from the requirement specification document, if you see in this diagram, the architectural design is developed, the abstract specification is oh, it is not visible for you. Okay. Is it visible now? Okay. So we have already discussed different phases of the waterfall model. I'm revising it with a few more diagrams. That is what. Okay. So the requirement specification is the document that is prepared in the previous stage of requirements gathering. Based on the requirement specification, the architecture design and the abstract specifications are created for the architecture of the system, overall system, or the software which is to be developed. So the system is the particular application or the software product which is to be developed. Okay. So after this, the abstract specification is done. So using the abstract specification, the interface is designed. So what are the user interfaces that you have in your software that you're going to design, that is specified here. Okay. And also the software specifications, like what is the version of IDE that you want, okay, whether you're going to use Java SDK tools or any other IDE, or you need ODBC, JDBC, or you're just going to use C++, okay, and all these things you decide. Then for the interface design, the interface design is developed based on the specifications requirements by the user. Once again, like what type of interface they need, whether it will be easy for them if they are given list down menus to select the choice, or a checkbox is provided, they can do multiple selections. Okay, all these are interface specifications given by the customer, and based on that in the design stage it is mentioned. Then the component design is done based on the specification by the user, like whether they want it in a functional structure, how many modules, all those details. And then this is based on the component designed, they are going to identify the data structure that they require for this particular component module, and the data structure is designed, and finally the identified algorithm is specified. So these are the processes involved in the design process. This in detail you will be learning in the third unit. This is just an overview. So the systematic approaches for developing a software design are the various design methods. So the design is also documented as a set of graphical models. So every stage of the waterfall model is documented. So the design is also documented as a set of graphical models. So what are the possible models that are used are known as the data flow model, entity relation attribute model. Hope you have studied this in your DBMS ER models. Then the structural model and object models. Okay, these are the various possible models which have notations, and these diagrammatic representations are documented. Okay, in the design team, in the design stage. Okay, then programming and debugging. So translating the design into a program and removing the errors from that program is the next stage. So the programming, it is a personal activity where the programmer does. Okay, and the
Ma'am,
programmers, yes.
விக்கி உள்ள வரல மேடம். அவன் லிங்க்
Okay,
இது உள்ள வந்திருக்கான்.
okay. Yes, programming and debugging. So the programming, it is the activity done by the programmer, and the programmers carry out some program testing to discover the fault in the program, and they remove the faults during the debugging process. Okay, so in your regular lab session, what you will do, you will save your program, compile it, you will run it. When you compile, you will find some errors. You try to rectify those errors. You modify the syntax or some other detail in your program, and that process is called the debugging process. This is the same thing which is done in the industry also, in the programming stage by the programming team. So the debugging process is nothing but locating the errors and then repairing the errors. Okay, so the errors can be rectified in the design also. Okay, and once you repair it, just this make changes on identifying the error, you once again retest the program. That is, after you debug it, you are going to once again test whether this is the program is working correctly. So this is the debugging process. Finally, the software validation happens. So that is testing. I told you testing, unit testing and integration testing is done after the programming. So what is this testing? Is nothing but it is carried out to validate the quality of the software. So verification and validation is intended to show that the system, it conforms to the specification. It is actually doing what is actually expected from it, and it also meets the requirements of the actual customer. So for this purpose, software validation is done. It is nothing but it is a process which involves checking and reviewing all the processes and system testing. So it is nothing but checking all the functionalities. Okay, it is like a review process. Okay, and the system testing, it also involves executing the system with something known as test cases. Okay, which are derived from real data specification to be processed by the system. So how is this testing done? So a set of testing are to be done on the program, and what are the types of testing to be done on the program are already mentioned. These are called as some test cases. For example, I tell you, if you are writing a program, a simple program to add two numbers. Okay, you're giving two numbers. Okay, you are giving two 2-digit numbers, 3-digit numbers, and 4-digit, 5-digit. Okay, 10-digit numbers you are giving. Okay, till 10-digit, if you give the numbers, the addition is going well. Beyond 10-digit, if you give any number, is it working? Is your addition working? Okay, this is considered as a test case. So the testing people, he will not just give 200 and 1000 and check whether the system is doing addition and giving the answer as 1200. No. Beyond expectation. Okay, they'll try to find out the fault with the program. So if some unexpected data is entered, what will the system do? What answer will the system give to the user? All these are tested. Okay, that is the use of software validation stage. So unit testing is done, then module testing, then subsystem testing, then complete system testing, and acceptance testing. So initially this unit testing and module testing are done for the individual components. Then the subsystem testing and system testing, this is done by integrating the different components. And finally the entire system during the installation at the user side, it is tested whether it is acceptable by the user. This complete testing in detail we'll be studying in the 5th unit of the course. Okay, so the entire waterfall model stage, okay, is divided into each stage you will be studying as a separate unit in this course. Okay, this is how the syllabus is framed. So the various testing stages are your unit testing, where individual components are tested. As I already told you, module testing, it is a related collection of the various individual components, and these modules are integrated into subsystems and they are tested. And the system testing is testing of the system as a whole. Okay, and acceptance testing is the one that is finally made in the user site. Okay, after this finally it is software evolution. So the software is always flexible and can change as the requirements change from the customer side due to their business circumstances also. So the software that supports the business or the software that is developed must be able to evolve itself. Evolve is change. Okay, so always there is software evolution. So maintenance people, they should take care of this. So these are the different stages of your project development. Okay, this you can just use it for reference. So with this we have discussed and we have revised the various stages of waterfall model. So this is a very important model. The entire subject, the other units are based only on this model. That is why I am repeating it again for today's class. Okay, so with this we are completing the first 2 topics of your first unit. Okay, so the first unit is a very lengthy one compared to the other modules. The first module is a very lengthy one. Okay, so all these classes we have completed introduction to the various terms like software, software engineering, applications of software, software process. We have seen software process model, and in depth we have seen all the stages of the waterfall model and the prototype model along with the diagrammatic representation. So this is what we have covered till date. So your next topic will be software metrics. Is the screen visible for you all? Okay, ma. So the next topic is software metrics. So it is not enough if we just develop the software. Okay, it is necessary to measure the quality of the software. It is necessary to measure the software which you are developing. So if you are in the IT industry and you are involved in a project, you have got an assignment from the customer, they are paying you in lakhs for developing the particular software for their organization. Okay, just like that, you cannot hand over a software to them. You should hand over a quality software to them. Okay, only then you will get more projects based on the credibility of the software product which you have delivered to the particular customer. Only if the customer is satisfied with the software that you have developed, they will give good opinion and the feedback will be good, and this feedback will be shared to various other customers who again will come to you for more projects. So more projects are coming to you means more money, more profit. So whatever work we do, we should deliver a quality work. So the quality is measured in terms of some metrics. So we are going to see how software is measured in the IT industry, how the quality of the software is measured, how the quantity, that is the complexity of the software is measured. Okay, the size of the software is measured. All these details will be seen, because the size, you have to measure the size of the software. Okay, so only then you can decide how many people you need to develop this software, how many days you need to develop this software. Okay, so only when you are able to assess the input requirements required to develop the particular software, you can fix the budget required for this particular software. So based on the budget allocation, you can say how much the customer has to pay for this particular software. Okay, so all this costing, budgeting, all these are involved. Okay, so you have to measure how long how lengthy the software is going to be, whether it is just a 1 week project which requires some two people who write program codes, where the lines number of program statements in the program is going to be some 100 lines or some 1000 lines, or it involves some lakhs of program codes, like program statements, where the 500 files or some 200 files together are stored in a folder to run the software. Okay, what is the complexity of the software? So for all these you need metrics. So software metrics, the software process and product metrics are quantitative measures. Okay, in the software industry you have metrics for process, product, as well as the project. Okay, so process metric is for the activities, the different activities that are performed to develop the software. Okay, and product metrics is the one which is used to assess the software as such, the product which is going to be given. And project is the entire phase of the software development, the entire phase of developing the product. Okay, when it is adopting a particular software model, then what is the quality of that? So software process, we have already learned the 4 basic software processes. Then the software model is adopted by the project, right? So adopting the software model, how the project is proceeding. So validating this project, you have a separate metric. And once the project is over, you have the product result which is handed over to the user. So how is this product evaluated? For that you have separate metrics. So metrics, there are so many types, and the ones used for measuring the process and the product are quantitative. That is, it enables the software people to gain deep knowledge into the efficiency of the software process carried out, and the projects that are conducted using the process as a framework. As we all know, the process, it provides a framework set of activities which all the projects adopt. So the software metric terms, these are the basic terms which you have: measure, it provides a quantitative indication of the amount, or in terms of extent, how long or large the dimension, vertically or horizontally. So it is a lengthy one or it is a complex one in terms of logic. Okay, capacity, how much storage space it is going to occupy the database for the particular project, the size of some attribute, like if it is a numerical attribute, what is the to what extent it is going to accept the values, or if it is an attribute which accepts alphabets characters, then what is the length of the particular attribute. For example, a name. Okay, how many characters are allowed for entering the value for the variable name. Okay, you might allow that the person name that you want to enter can be to a maximum length of 25 characters or 50 characters. So all these are measurements. Also, the number of defects that are found in a program while testing. Okay, all these become measurements. Okay, and measures, these are all the various measures. Measurement, what do you mean by this term measurement? It is the act of collecting a measure. So measure is like determining the length of a cloth, or distance traveled, amount of time taken to complete. Okay, all these are called measures. Measurement is how do you take the measurement. So vegetables, okay, how do you measure the vegetables? In kg, right? How is the measurement taken? It is measurement is taken in by a weighing machine. Similarly, how the length of a cloth is identified. Okay, it is calculated, the measure is meters, but how the measurement is done? Using a long scale, measurement scale, right? So this is the difference between measure and measurement. So measurement is the act of collecting a measure, like first collecting the defects in the program. So first now finding out the defects in the program, then you will measure how many defects are there. Okay, that is the difference between measure and measurement. So other software metric terms are metric. Metric is nothing but a quantitative measure of the degree to which a system component or any process possesses on a given attribute. It is a relative measure in some way. Okay, so it is like number of defects found, okay, per 10 lines of code. Number of defects found per 100 lines of code. Okay, I'll tell you, like if you have written a program with 100 lines of code, and number of errors found in these 100 lines is 3. Okay, so other person has done another 200 lines of program with 200 lines of code, and the error found in his program is 2. Okay, then how will you assess the two programmers if you are going to give them some increment, okay, bonus for his work? How will you assess? The person with just 100 lines of code is having 3 defects, whereas the person who has written 200 lines of code has got only 2 errors. So the person with more line of code with lesser defects will be given incentive, right? So this is metric. So income relative measurement, okay, that is metric. So indicator, the other term that you want to know is indicator. It is a metric that provide insight into the software process, project, or product. So the indicators are used to manage the process or the project. Okay, so these are the 4 terms which you will be coming across continuously. That is why this term. So the software metrics refers to the range of measurements used for computer software. So this enables the software people to gain insight is deeper knowledge about the project. Why they need this software metric? What they're going to do with the software metric? Because they want to improve the process and the product. On assessing, if they find that there is some problem with the process involved in developing the product or the product as such. They will try to improve both so that they'll be able to give a better product in an efficient way. Efficient way is practicing the software processes in a better way. Okay. And also it helps in assisting the estimation of a new project. Okay. And to assess the productivity of the particular team, as I told you, assess how a particular team member has worked well. Further, to find out how much of incentive has to be given. For all these, you need measurements. Quality control. So quality control check how much of quality software you are producing. If the company wants to assess its quality or any other external factor, committee, government team, ISO standards, their committees, when they come for audit, they want to check the quality. Okay, ISO certified, you would have seen this ISO certified product, ISO certified company, all this, right? Certified. If they are to be certified, then they'll be becoming more prominent. Okay, to get certified, the quality should be checked. So we need software metrics. Then project control, to have a control over the project. If you find that, if you assess that the certain programmers are not faring well, then they are unnecessarily wasting your project time. So you will try to remove them and you replace them with another more better software programmer, or you try to shift them to some other team. Okay, so to make all these works more easier, you need this software metrics. Is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So how are these metrics used? Okay, measures are often collected by the software engineers and used by the software managers, higher levels. So the measurements are analyzed and compared to the past measurements. So the measures are collected and the measurements, that is the process of collecting the measures, are done and are analyzed and compared to previous activities of similar projects that have already been carried out by the industry, to look for trends, good or bad trends, and to make better estimates. So, TCS, I told you, like I would have told you, TCS is developing various educational softwares, that is softwares for maintaining the database and taking care of all the activities, automating the activities of educational institutions. So when it is taking project for educational institutions, it is developing a software for SRM, it is developing a software for Crescent. Okay, but and these educational softwares, they are almost similar, but based on certain factors which are very much customized only to that particular college, certain changes happen in the software. So when they're having similar projects, they have already done a project for SRM, similar project. Okay, so they'll compare the current project which they are developing for Crescent with the previous project they have done for SRM in different angles, to find out whether they are working in the right manner, whether they are working in the right manner. And so that if they find that there is some flaw when compared to the previous project, they'll try to improve themselves from that point of time to deliver a quality product. So the reasons for measuring the software process, product, and other resources involved in the development of the software. Why? to characterize. To characterize is to gain understanding of the process and product as well as the project that you are carrying out. So to establish a baseline for future comparisons. I told you that. So they'll compare with the previous project, a similar project which they've already done to improve themselves, to identify where they are standing in the current project. Okay. So like you will compare yourself like last CAT exam, what was the mark that your friend got and you got? How much was the mark difference? How much marks? What was the difference between you? So the first, there is a person who came first and the second. Then once a CAT 2 mark comes, you analyze whether you have improved compared to the person in the previous CAT 1 or you have gone down. So to find out where you are standing so that you prepare to aim for higher position in the semester end exam. So to characterize, that is the reason we need measuring. To evaluate, to determine the status within the plan. So you will be having a project plan and you have to check whether you are going as per the plan. Are you going as per the plan or you are deviated from the plan by moving faster or you are behind the schedule? To evaluate that, you need metric. To predicate, so that we can plan. So update the estimates. We can plan for future to that part. And to improve, you would have more information quantitative to help determine the root causes. So other than just finding out like where you are standing, and also identify the main source why you didn't score better in CAT 2 also when compared to your friend. Find out the reason, find out the root cause, and then you try to solve, because you spend more time on during the weekend in the malls. Maybe your friend did not spend more time in the malls. He has visited only once a month, but you have visited every week. That is the difference. That is the root cause. So you just cut visiting the malls before your CAT exam. So that is you find the root cause and you try to give a solution. Similarly, you find out why the project is moving slow compared to the plan. For example, you have planned to complete the project in 4 weeks. Okay, you are supposed to complete the programming in the 3rd week, but the programming has started only in the 4th week. So what is the root cause? The programmers have not received the design. So the design team has been slower. So you have to find out what is the problem with the design team. Whether the person was absent or the number of people in the team is not enough, or they are not having enough skills to draw the notations. You have to sort out the problem so that the next time when the team is given the project, the lag of time does not happen. Okay, so you need software metrics. So the 3 domains of software metrics, as I told you, product, process, and project. So these are the 3 domains where the metrics are required to measure. So the product, these measurements relate to the software product and all related artifacts of the software. Example, it is when it comes to software product, what are the things that you will be measuring? It is the code, program code, the design documents, the testing plan. As I already told you, while testing, just like that, randomly things are not done. Okay, test plan is documented, like what should be given as input and what output should come for this input. Okay, while testing, if they use this test plan, okay, whatever is given in the test plan, they will try to give the input, and the output given by the system should be equal to the value that is available in the output of the test plan also. If it does not match, then it is not working properly. That is the thing. So testing can be done by anyone. Okay, if they are given the test plan, okay, they will enter the input as given in the test plan, and they will check whether the output given by your program is the same as the output mentioned in the test plan. If it is not the same, then there is some problem with the program. So this is a test plan. Then user manuals. So the code, design, test plan, user manual, lines of codes, number of pages, or number of objects, entities that you use in your project, number of files that you have saved for the project, all these become product which are measured. Okay, so measures can also be used to evaluate the software quality. So all these are quantitative measures, like number of lines of code, number of design documents, number of testing plans, okay, number of files, number of objects, all these are quantitative. But this quality can be evaluated. The quality also can be evaluated other than quantity. So how is this quality evaluated for a software? Through something known as cyclomatic complexity. This detail will be learning. So it is a way to measure the complexity of a module for the particular program that you have developed. So it assigns a value called V of G to every module based on the control flow of the module. So based on the flow of control loop controls that you have. So some companies place a cap on V of G, that is the value. Okay, if it is too high, the module must be redesigned. So this you will be studying in the design component module stage. So you should just know that quality of the software is measured through something known as cyclomatic complexity. Okay, and it is used to measure the module, okay, of a project. This is what you need to know. The other domains of software metrics are process and project, as I already told you. So this process, these measures, they are used to quantify the characteristics of the software process. Okay, so we have learned the different processes, software processes. They want to quantify the characteristic. So usually it is related to the events that occur during the process. Example, the defects found, the number of times the requirements were changed during the process, the requirements gathering, and number of days to complete the task is getting changed. Okay, in between there is some problem that a particular team member is going on a sick leave, so the task is not completed on time. So these are all measurements on the process. So measurement on the product is the line of code, number of objects, number of files, number of folders, database storage space. All these are quantitative measures for product. When it comes to process, the change in the time, number of times the requirements were changed during the gathering stage. Okay, all these become processes. Project, so it is used to manage the software project tactic. It is, when it comes to project metrics, it comes to estimating the cost for developing the project. Initially you would have planned that it will cost around 5 lakhs for developing the project, but it has it has made you to spend 6 lakhs for the project. So you need proper metrics to estimate. So project estimation is another topic you'll be studying. So estimating the software development time based on the similar projects done previously. So time estimation, cost estimation, okay, all these are evaluations, some sort of measurements with respect to project. Okay. So these process metrics, product metrics, and project metrics are the three important domains. So this process metric, I repeat, they are measures of software development process. Okay, process metrics are measures of the software development process, like the type of methodology used and other stuff. Whereas process metrics are collected across all projects over long period of time. So their main intent is to provide indicators that will lead to long-term software process improvement. Okay, so the project metrics, as I told you, the project metrics. The project metrics are the measures of software project, and they are used to monitor and control the project. So they enable the software project manager to minimize the development time. As I already told you, time estimation, cost estimation are the two factors which can be measured for project. So it minimizes the development time by making the adjustments necessary to avoid the delay in delivering the project. Okay, and also it will assess the product quality on an ongoing basis, and it will try to modify, the project manager will try to modify the technical approach to improve the quality. Okay, so they try to improve their project metrics. And the product metrics are the measures of the software product at any stage of the development. So when the product, the software is measured for the lines of code, number of files, storage space occupied, it is not at the end stage alone. As I told you, it is not the measurement done at the end of the software development. The product is software, but it is not done at the end alone. During every stage of development, every stage of waterfall model, the software product is developed. Okay, until the time it is installed in the user's system, the product metrics are measured to enhance the quality. Okay, so software measurement. Okay, we have seen why we use these measures. Now it is software measurement. There are two categories of software measurement. Okay, this two categories of measurement that are usually followed in the software industry are direct measures and indirect measures. So direct measures, these are measurements that are more tangible. Example, cost, time, effort, okay, and memory size occupied, okay, number of lines of code. These are all known as direct measures. Okay, for example, the cost and time, they are process measures, whereas the memory size and line of code are product measures. Okay, we have the three domains of measurement: process, product, and project. So process is the basic processes involved. Product is the actual software. Project is inclusion of the process and the product. So when it comes to types of measurement, there are two types: direct measures and indirect measures. Direct measures, we have some examples for process based and product based. Next, indirect measures. Indirect measurements of things, they are measurements of things that describe the characteristics. Okay, here you are measuring cost, time. Here the characteristics is measured. So you can, this is not quantitative, but indirect measures are qualitative. Direct measures are quantitative. You can say in cost, so many lakhs, so much of so many hours, so many lines of code. But indirect measures, you cannot say in you cannot quantify it. Okay, they are just the ability of the softwares. The various abilities are qualitative. So the functionality, the quality, the complexity involved, it is less complex or more complex. Okay, how many function it has got, the functionality is efficient or not. Maintainability, so is it good in maintenance, they are able to maintain. Reliability, is it giving the required output? So all these are indirect measures. So some of the metrics, as I told you, metrics are like kg, length, meters. So these are metrics, right? So similarly in software, what are the metrics? You'll be wondering, are we going to say in liters or kg? No, It is measured in terms of something known as KLOC. KLOC means line of code per thousand or 1,000 lines of code. So we'll be finding out errors per 1,000 lines of code, defects per 1,000 lines of code, cost spent per line of code. Okay, number of lines of code per person, number of lines of code per month. So how much of code developed by a person per month? Okay, how many lines of code are developed by a person per day? Or for developing 100 lines of code by a person, how much amount you spend in the project for per person per day per month? What are the defects identified per 1,000 line of code per day or per month? What are the errors? So these are the various metrics. So the common metric, size oriented metric, that is quantitative metric that you find in software is KLOC. KLOC is known as thousands lines of code. Okay. So another metric that you have is known as functional oriented metrics. These are they use measures of the functionality delivered by the application. So the functionality is derived indirectly using other direct measures. So it is a qualitative, as I already told you, it is indirectly measured using the direct measures. Okay. So this is another type of software measurement. Okay, this metric I'll teach you in the other things. So 4 suggested quality measures. Okay, a quantity measure, we saw line of code as a metric. But for quality, software quality, how do you measure? Okay, I said it is all abilities of the software. Quality is nothing but measuring the ability of the software. So how it is measured? The 4 suggested quality measures are, first one is integrity. Okay, so I'll just integrity, usability. Okay, these are the basic abilities: integrity, ability, security. Okay, and how much of lesser threat it has. So integrity. So what is this integrity? It is the system's ability to withstand the attack to its security. So if there is any security issue, threat to the system, what is the ability to withstand the attack, to overcome the attack? Even if someone tries to steal some lines of code in between the middle of the software. Okay, there's a security issue, strong security that no one can access the. Yes. Hello. Yes, what happened? What happened, ma? Oh, okay, okay. I thought someone told excuse me. Okay. Am I fast, ma?
No, ma'am.
Is the pace okay? Okay, ma. Thank you. Okay, ma. So integrity. So how it is able to safeguard itself from the person who is trying to steal the code. It is not able to show the internal logic. So that is, the attacks can be made to systems. Okay, it will be to the data, security threat to the data. In that case, how strong your database is. I think you have the database management system paper. So security threats and other. So all these are the advantages of database management system. Yes, access rights are provided by your database administrators. Yes, so the even though large amount of data is stored, database management system has the ability to recover itself, which will be studying in mostly the 5th unit of RDBMS. Okay, so this attacks can be made to a system's data, programs, or documents. So the threat, the probability that an attack will occur in a given time of period. Okay, and based on that, it is secure enough. So the probability that an attack will be repelled, how much it is able to repel back. Okay, even if a threat has been posed. Okay, and it is planning like this type of threat might come to the particular document of the project or to the particular database or particular record of the project. So having this in mind in advance, they'll fix certain access rights to the particular database file. So all these are the integrity, the quality of the software is measured in terms of the integrity. Integrity is how well it is being protected by external threats, how well it is developed, including how well the data is saved in a secured manner. Okay, so these are all the quality. So these values are estimated or derived from evidence. So integrity is summation of 1 minus threat into minus security. So all these details you not need. Maybe for exam point of view, you can use this. You write your theory, but this is not necessary for you. Okay. So I told you there are 4 quality measures. One is the integrity. Next one is your usability. So what is this usability? So it is an attempt to measure user friendly ware. Maybe you're all computer science students. Okay, you'll be very comfortable with whatever web page is opened by you. Okay, whatever software is given, you'll know you'll try to find out like where the next button will appear and where will be the possible option to for closing the screen. Okay, or to jump to another screen, something like that. But if maybe if some of your parents are working with computer sections, they'll be able to operate. But if your aunt or someone who is not in this field, okay, who is working in some other government organization or is not in a banking section, if a new web page or a website is given to them, they will not know how to browse. Maybe they'll be seeing the home page. They might not know how to go to the next page, because web pages are, as I already told you, web page is also an application software, right? It is also developed as a product by the industry by web programmers. And to make the web page more beautiful, they might be having icons like move next or move back, something like that, or maybe some other button will be available in a pictorial format. Maybe you as a computer science students, you will know how to jump to the next page, but they'll be wondering how to go to the next page or skip the page. They need separate commands to be available in the web page. If you have seen in most of the web pages, you'll be having previous, next. Okay, this underline keywords will be available with arrow mark. Okay, previous button, next button symbols. When you click on that, it will take you to the next web page. Okay, all these are some design issues. So irrespective of the type of user, okay, you should not always think that the person who knows very well to operate the system is using the system. No, you should develop the user interfaces in such a way that even a naive person, that is a person who does not have or very new to the usage of computer, should be very comfortable in managing the software. Okay, that is user friendliness. Okay, like the font should be big enough so that even old people who have some eye power, they will be able to view the text content in the particular software. Okay, it should not be minute, so it should be in a possible size, and also it should be in an attractive text font. It should the background color of the monitor, there is a web page, and the text color, it should not be same of the same what to say tone. See, if you see here, I have a lighted background in the PPT and darker color for the text. If I give a lighter color for the text also, it will not be visible for most of you. Okay, so that is some user friendliness to avoid strain of the users. So these are all some basic user friendliness characteristics which you can say as quality. So the physical and intellectual skill required to learn the system. So the intellectual skill required to system to be considered. So I told you intellectual skill, computer science and non-computer science backgrounds. The time required to become moderately efficient in the use of the system is how easily you are able to manage to use the particular system. You get accustomed to it, right? So how easily a person gets to use it. Okay, that is the another quality. The net increase in productivity is measured against the old process or system. So it is measured after a user has gained moderate efficiency, and also a subjective measure of user attitude towards the system. So considering the user attitude also, because older generation people, their attitude towards the presentation of data to them will always be different. They will say, why is this so small, nothing is visible, why there are a lot of buttons. Some people don't like to see lot of pictorial representations in the page. They feel disturbed, distracting, irritating. Some people don't like lot of animations in the PPT slide. So these are all small things. Okay, similarly, this is how the various user interfaces should be designed. So these are some quality measures in case of usability. So we have seen integrity, we have seen usability. Okay, and other quality measures are correctness and maintainability. Okay, so the correctness is nothing but the degree to which the software performs its required function. Okay, the degree to which it is performing what it is actually intended to perform, to how much extent it is performing. At least 90% it is providing good. Okay, that is correctness. Usually it is measured by defects or KLOC. KLOC, as I already told you, it is thousands lines of code. So a defect is designed as a verified lack of conformance to the actual requirement. So if the requirement is not confirmed, if it is not delivering what exactly is mentioned in the requirement, so that is a defect. If it is delivering what is exactly mentioned in the requirement, then the correctness, there is correctness in the software developed by you. Okay, so that is the quality by which software is measured. Then it is the last measure is maintainability. So the ease to which a program can be corrected, how easily, if you identify a defect, it is giving chance to correct it. It is getting evaluated, modified. So if an error is found, it is changed for a new environment, or the software is good enough to be enhanced, to be modified. So even if software is developed by a person A and it has been handed over to the customer, okay, and the person A shifts to some other company, he's moving from TCS to Infosys, okay, but the client wants some changes in his software, okay, but the programmer from TCS has moved from that company itself. Who's going to upgrade the software? Then a new programmer is going to upgrade the software. When he comes and opens his project, he should easily understand where he has to make the change. So the way the product is developed, the software is developed, the files are designed, the modules are designed, the variable names are given. It should be easily understandable by a new person also, so that he is able to continue with this project. That is known as maintainability. For example, I tell you, consider the TCS Ion itself. Okay, TCS Ion, it has to calculate the or what do you say, GPA, CGPA for you. Okay, so average. So the formula is average of your total marks for this particular semester. So you have 7-8 courses. Okay, so what is the actual common formula? Subject 1 plus subject 2 subject 3 plus subject 8 divided by 8. Okay, so you find the average. Okay, so if I give the variable name as subject 1 plus subject 2 plus subject 3 plus subject 4 divided by 8. Okay, and I go somewhere. If a new programmer comes, he wants to add one more course because there is a revision in the syllabus. Okay, and they are adding a 9th course, elective course. Okay, so now when this software is to measure that is to calculate the average of the students for the semester, they have to calculate the average of all the 9 courses. So what I will do, I'll just add subject 9. The variable name will be subject 9. So in the formula, it will be subject 1 plus subject 2 plus subject 9 divided by 9. So I'll just add one more variable subject 9. The work is over. But if the previous programmer has given as Nick plus John plus Peter, something like that, he has named the subjects like this. What will I think? I will keep searching for the subject name somewhere. Okay, so that is not a good quality. Okay, even the naming conventions of the variables should be taken care. Okay, so if it is addition or addition of two numbers, okay, usually you will give input as variable A and variable B, but this is not a good standard as per industry. Okay, so what in industry they will give is, if two inputs are to be given for addition, they will give the name as input 1 underscore add, input 2 underscore add. Okay, in industry, this is how they will name the variable for the two input variables that you give for addition. So for a simple addition, the variable input variable naming convention is like this. So the output will be, output variable will not be C, as you do C equal to A plus B. Okay, it will be add underscore output. That will be the variable name. So this is how it is done in the industry. So there is so this is known as maintainability. Okay, so these are the 4 quality measures that acts as metrics for the software. Okay, so we have seen qualitative measures and quantitative measures. Quantitative measure is done for the product as well as the project, whereas mostly the qualitative measures can be done for the process. Okay, so I think we'll wind up for today's session after taking attendance. Okay.